This video is all about how to load a gel using a micropipette. So we already used micropipettes back when we did our blood typing lab. So hopefully we're already familiar with them, but just to go over them a little bit. The diagram over here on the left side of the screen, you can see different parts of the micropipette labeled. You've got your push button, adjustment knob, and operating rod, right? And this is the thing that you're going to be using to press the plunger to fill and dispense using your micropipette. Of course, you have your adjustment here for how much volume you need, right? For this activity, you guys are going to be setting them to 035. 035, right? Should read like that. I think I got it there. 035, that's 35 microliters. That's the amount you're going to get when you go to your first stop. As a reminder, when loading, use your first stop. Okay. And our goal is to practice before we do the actual lab, before we actually load real gels in order to analyze real DNA. We're going to do a little practice. So you'll need, of course, your tip on your micropipette. Never pipette naked, right? Always make sure you got your protective tip on here. And then we'll be using these gray trays like this. These gray trays with water in them are going to have a practice gel. Now, this is not a real gel that will actually work in electrophoresis. This is a silicone rubber gel, but we're going to be using it. It's got the little wells here, just like wells that you would have in a real situation. You're going to be loading them with this practice loading dye. You're going to do it underwater. So make sure there's water in your tub. I'll have some little weights here to help hold down your thing there. But then there's this nice purple dye. This doesn't have DNA in it, but the dye that's used here, this purple dye, is just like the dye that's used in our actual DNA samples. So you'll be able to see what you are pipetting. Now, when you're pipetting, especially when you're pipetting DNA gels, this is a pretty delicate process. You have to get your pipette tip just at the right depth inside of your well to make sure that you don't miss the well and eject your DNA sample above the well. And you also don't want to poke all the way through. Now, these rubber practice gels, you can't poke all the way through them. They're made of rubber. But the real gels, you can actually poke your pipette tip right through the bottom. So as you see in this image down here at the bottom of the screen, the pipette tip needs to be down inside the little hole in the gel, but not too far down. If this is too far down and it pokes through the gel, then you're going to be dispensing your DNA sample down here, and it won't work properly. Also, though, if you have it too high up, if you got your pipette tip not down in the well properly, if it's too high, then it will wind up just dispersing within the water, and it won't wind up in your well either. So that's why we're practicing today. You want to practice so that you get these nice, solid purple rectangles like you see in this upper image. When you got a nice purple rectangle there, nice and dark, that's how you know that you got it right in the right place. So you can practice this as many times until you feel comfortable. Anytime that you want to restart, just take your gel with your little purple dye there and just swish it around under the water, and you'll be able to restart. A few tips and tricks for practicing. I highly recommend having both elbows on the counter. Here, let me adjust where my camera is a little bit, maybe help you see things a little bit better. Right? I recommend having both both elbows on the counter. And you can hold your wrist with your offhand, or you can hold it like this. I like to kind of like rest part of the pipetter on my hand here, but you want to have a nice hinging motion here. It's really going to make things easier for you. So when you go to draw out, right, just like you do there, okay, I got that in there. You can see that dye, and then you want to kind of hinge so you can get these nice purple rectangles. So let's make my screen here bigger. That's big enough, right? Two elbows right there on the counter, and then my gel is down in here. And if I've got it nice and stable, either holding my wrist or holding like this, and I just hinge at my elbows, I can be really controlled. So especially if you're the kind of person who has a lot like shaky hands and that kind of thing, if you got both elbows on the table, it's a lot easier than trying to like freehand it. If you got one hand and you don't have your elbow on the table, it can be kind of hard. It's moving around, etc. Both elbows down, right? Go right underneath the water. Get the tip of that pipette tip right inside the well and dispense, right? And then you can go past, okay, to make sure you got everything out there. And you can keep using the same pipette tip over and over again. We're just doing the practice right now, right? But in the real lab, of course, you're going to be changing pipette tips between every sample, right? As a reminder, you want to get that nice purple rectangle just like you see there. I didn't put any water in, but you'll be doing it underwater, right? But a nice solid purple rectangle, that means you got it right in the right place. Now, in the real lab, we are going to be using the real equipment, including our power supply here. This is what's going to be powering our gel electrophoresis apparatus, providing that electric current. And you're going to have a chamber like this, and the chamber is going to have a tray and a real gel in it. This is, again, just a practice gel, not a real gel, right? But you'll be doing this underwater, okay? You'll get your gel in here. You'll fill it with a buffer solution. And then just like we just practiced, right, you'll be filling it underwater. So you want to be able to get those 2 elbows on the table and just hinge down in there and fill that and get those nice solid purple rectangles. When you see those nice solid purple rectangles, you're doing it right. Once it's all loaded, when we do the real lab, you'll put your lid on here. You'll take your electrical cords here. You'll connect those, black to black, red to red, and you'll switch on the power. And I'll let you know on lab day whether we're doing 75 volts or 150 volts. Depends on if it's a block day or not. It's planned to be a block day at least, so hopefully it is. All right, that's all I got here for practicing loading a gel and getting all that to work for you. Good luck. Let me know if you have questions or need my help with anything.